we're joined now by actor Terry Molloy, best known perhaps for his 40-plus years in The Archers. Now, is this right? An everyday tale of country folk?
It used to be, yeah. It was an everyday story of country folk. They've dropped that now.
Oh.
I think it became a little kind of patronising, country folk, But it was for many years an everyday story of country folk, But and it started off originally as a sort of a propaganda thing for the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries, because the farmers didn't like just boring facts. They wanted something like Dick Barton, so they actually got the writers of Dick Barton to write the pilots for The Archers. The result was that Dick Barton got taken off, and so we've never lived that down until recently, when Tim Bentinck, who plays David Archer, and myself did a live recording of a Dick Barton script, which then went out on CD, and with him playing Dick and me playing Snowy. So it was drama, but weaving in the information that they needed, and over the years, less and less actual information came through, and more of the drama, but built around a village, which is a very good idea of disseminating information that you need to.
Well, certainly had some longevity, but of course,
just a bit, yeah.
We're more interested perhaps in your other well-known British institution role as Davros, creator and leader of the Daleks.
Excellent.
Yes. And Sarah's got a good question for you about that.
Go on, Sarah.
Yes. So Davros, he's, I'd say, arguably perhaps one of the biggest British television villains. And would you agree with that? And what would you think perhaps was the cultural inspiration behind him as a character?
Davros is, in terms of Doctor Who, he is one of the Doctor's nemesis because he's so close to the Doctor. He's very like the Doctor. If you look at the stories, it's really they're on the same intellectual wave band. They know that they are. And they're both alone, and they kind of need each other. There's an audio story where Davros says, "You realise, Doctor, that you're the closest thing I have to a friend." And there's that kind of slight pathos as well within it. Somebody asked what would happen if Davros died or killed the Doctor or whatever, Well, he'd kind of be lost for doing anything, really. Then either of them would, But the cultural ethos, initially when he entered in the programme, it was very much, the Reich. It was intergalactic Hitler.
Yes,
it was all of that,
so.
The screaming, the shouting,
Stalin as well,
the air, absolutely, all the uniforms are very much of that era. But he's been mellowed slightly since then, as there's been different generations of Daleks created, Each time he has problems with one lot, he goes off and invents another lot, and then you get all these factions of Imperial Daleks and, renegade Daleks, which I kind of lost track of, But in terms of the character itself, when we did Davros, which was a 4-part mini-series on for Big Finish, we really had to look at where the character had come from, because we were going to run him from a 15-year-old boy up to the creation of the first Dalek.
Yes.
So you've got to see that journey. And one of the judgments we made on him when we were talking about it was that he had to be on the autistic spectrum somewhere. He had to be possibly Asperger's. He had this savant mind, yet a total inability to interact socially with people.
Just like a metaphor of how he ends up eventually.
Yeah, absolutely, because his brain was there and he could see problems, he could see solutions, and so he just went for them, and if anyone was in the way, hard luck, and he couldn't see the problem with that, So there's very much that element to him. He's not quite the narcissistic sociopath that we come across in everyday life nowadays, but there is certainly that focus that has made him who he is. Yeah.
Well, actually, that jumps me ahead slightly to a question I was going to raise later, saying Davros is essentially a sociopath. And you were talking yesterday in your talk about where he cures galactic famine, and his solution is simply eat the dead.
Yes.
And he's essentially a character with no moral compass whatsoever. How do you portray a character who has absolutely no morality to him? Is it just a case of you get to take the brakes off and go for it?
No, I've never had a moral compass. But I tell you now, I don't want to take over the galaxy, really. Honestly,
Just as well.
Yeah. No, it's a good question, because any actor has got to take put part of themselves into the character, otherwise a caricature. Yeah. And as I've said many times before, people say, "What's it like being evil?" I said, "I've no idea, because I'm not evil. And as far as the evil person is concerned, they're not evil either. What they're doing is absolutely right and logical, and that's what you do. The fact that it breaks somebody else's moral code, or they can't see certainly the feeding dead bodies. I mean, it's a Soylent Green story, but feeding dead bodies to the rest of the universe is a very neat way of doing it. They don't need them anymore. It's protein. Use it. What's the problem? You're all getting a bit kind of romantic and tied up and emotional about this. No. Logical solution. Do it. I'm sure Spock would do the same.
He probably would.
He probably would.
Third question.
So, actually, it's very much, I suppose, in keeping with what we've just been talking about. But I was going to ask you: is it sort of more fun to play the bad guy? I mean, if you were given the choice, when between parts, would that be something you'd always go for? Is there more to work with there, perhaps, with characters?
Yeah. I mean, the doctors that we've had have been great. The actors have been doing it. I don't think somebody said to me today, "Would you like to be the next Doctor?" I said, "No, absolutely not. No. I like being a baddie."
So you faced off against the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
The 5th, 6th, 7th. Yeah. What was it? No, 5th was Peter. 6th was Colin. 7th was Sylve, and I have faced off against
Big
Paul
Finish.
In Big Finish. Yeah, against that one as well. And I faced off against Tennant as well, but not as Davros.
Right.
That was in another thing. I played a different character on for Big Finish in Time Reaver. I've always liked people with failings. They've always interested me. I was fascinated reading one of the bits about John Hurt, who recently died. That he liked the characters that most people would think, no, you don't want to do that. It's not a good character to play. I mean, like playing Quentin Crisp. That'll kill your career. But it's people with certain aspects to their personality that are not quite normal in some way or other, or they have a vulnerability. And I see vulnerability in villains, where people sometimes see strength, but I think from within that strength there is a vulnerability, and I look for that in the character if I'm doing it.
All right, here's a fun one.
Okay.
Budget cutbacks.
Yeah.
Davros and the Doctor now have to flat share. Which Doctor do you think would make the best housemate for Davros?
Oh, gosh.
It's a remake of The Odd Couple.
It is a bit, isn't it? Yeah, very much so. Oh dear, there's a video going around with Stephen Hawking and Davros flat sharing to the track of Electric Dreams, and they meet in a disco, and they meet, and then they're having a meal together. At the end of the meal, all the dishes go into Davros. It opens up his thing, and it's a dishwasher, and all of that, I just, I thought this is just so bizarrely wonderful. In terms of The Odd Couple, oh God, Davros and yes, I think it would probably have to be the second Doctor. Troughton, yeah.
Your favourite, I think you said.
Yeah, he is one of my favourites, but yeah, I mean, I just think he's odd enough on the other side of the spectrum, and the cosmic hobo to balance off with Davros,
Okay. And I think we have to call it a day there. So
we do.
Thank you very much indeed.
Not at all.
Terry,
My pleasure.
For your time.
My pleasure.
It's very nice to meet you.
And you.